Welcome to Innovation Matters. Today is May 20th. It's a brisk spring day, but the thing that's most brisk about it is that we have the electric Dan DeCloss with us, who is the founder and CEO of FlexTrack. Dan, welcome to our show, and we really appreciate you joining Innovation Matters today.
Thanks, Jay. I appreciate the introduction. I don't know that I've been called electric before, but I'll take it.
We got the electric Daniel DeCloss. It's awesome. So, hey, Dan, this is great. You know, we're just going to jump right into it. Usually, I give a quote, but I'm going to save a quote to the very end. But I wanted to jump right into this because, man, you've done some amazing things. So the first time that I met Dan DeCloss, you were working for Sensi, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about this deal, this thing where you took this opportunity where you work for Sensi, where you were probably doing some cyber other IT type work over there with Ernie Satterwhite and Mr. Johnson over there, you know, and now you sit there and you have this idea. Talk about how you started FlexTrack.
Yeah. So I actually started it long before Sensi, to be honest. So I had started FlexTrack in the winter or the early 2016, right? So I'd had this idea. You know, they were pain points that I'd been living as a practitioner in cybersecurity for many years, and always had the entrepreneurial spirit. So wanted to have an opportunity to start a business and kind of see where we could go. You know, at the time I was kind of like, what is this like? I need this like world changing idea, right? Before I could do anything. And I kind of started to realize that may not happen, right? You may not get this like, you know, flashbulb moment of innovation. And so I was like, well, I've had this pain point. I know that I could start there, right? And I could start, you know, solving this problem that I was having. And so if it was going to work or not, I at least know I would be a user of it. Right. So started it then and just kind of started working it on the side, getting some validation from some other, you know, peers in the industry. And then went to Sensi to take the opportunity to be their cybersecurity director. So kept working, you know, on the side, and eventually got it to a point where I could recognize that by keeping the day job, it was going to hurt FlexTrack in terms of the business. So it was kind of this fish or cut bait type of moment. So I decided to give it a shot, right? And to dive in full time. Knew I had something and knew I wanted to grow it and just see where we could take it. And so that's kind of how we got, you know, into the point of like doing it full time. And then, the rest is history from there. So.
No, that's a great story, because, you know, that you have to get to those defining moments where you can say, I got to either kind of, a lot of people says, burn the ship, you know, type thing. I think that's always a defining moment for you. And if I can, on this one right here, when did you first realize that you had this entrepreneurial spirit? Did you notice it when you were back in high school or when you were younger?
So I would say the entrepreneurial spirit was kind of instilled in me early on via my dad. He had owned his own business in consulting before he went to be a professor at Northwest Nazarene. But even while he was teaching at Northwest Nazarene, we started a batting cage business. And I mean, I say we, you know, I helped him, because I was a baseball player and needed a backyard batting cage. And so figured we could do it on our own, and got a design that seemed to work. And so we sold batting cages, you know, online. This was in the late 90s, early 2000s. So e-commerce was just kind of getting going back then. There were no Amazons of the world and things like that. So that kind of instilled in me like just how much fun it is to actually like build something from the ground up and talk to customers and be,
right,
about a product and selling it and solving problems. I think is the biggest thing, that we enjoy. That really helps, when you really can feel like you're helping alleviate a pain point in a market. It was what was most exciting. So I would say, that kind of started in high school.
What position did you play in baseball?
I was a catcher and first baseman. Yeah. So,
Oh, really? Two
yeah.
dynamically different place
Yeah.
roles there. That's great. So I like
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
so this is great. So this idea that you said several times here about this pain point, is that something where how vital is that as you look at FlexTrack and anybody that's starting a new company, how vital is it to be able to solve pain points?
I mean, from my perspective, I think it's probably the most important thing, right? From where we're at, I mean, you recognize a pain point that exists in the market, right? And that can start with an idea, and maybe it's not your pain point, but maybe something leads you to discover it. Obviously from my experience, it was a pain point that I had experienced and knew others in my peer sector and colleagues were experiencing as well. So it helped define, hey, like this is where we can start, right? And then as we continue to grow the platform, more and more pain points start to unravel, or not, I mean, expose themselves that we can help solve as well. So I mean, I think it's been a great learning experience in that regard of like, you start somewhere, and then you really start to recognize what other problems you can solve as you get going. So
Yeah, I like that a lot, because that's your differentiation, right? You can really do a lot of things. You can you can do customer service, you can do all these things, but if you don't have this differentiation that takes place, then you're always going to be struggling, because other people can duplicate or other type of things, but you can always outperform possibly, but you need to have that secret sauce stuff. I
yeah.
like that. So
Yeah, and I mean, there could be some market competition that already exists, but if you have recognized this is what differentiates us, and this is what we really think can help us, quote unquote, disrupt that market, that's really what has to happen.
okay, so you left Sensi, you decided to cut bait, or the analogy of burning the ship, so you can't leave the island. You have to, now you're 100% in, right?
Right.
Now you just got a round of funding. Congratulations for that, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
You've done all these things. You had some really good investment. I know $1 million, maybe more, from Stage.0. Talk about some of the things that took place as you left Sensi, and where you are today, as far as what are probably a couple of the most key learning things you've had since then to today.
Yeah, there's been a lot. So I think you realize you don't know all the things that you're going to be dealing with. But I think what's been exciting is the partnership that we've had with Stage.0 in helping us navigate 2020, having a partner by your side to be able to help navigate some of those things that just nobody would have expected to encounter. 2020 was the year that we grew substantially, and yet we're right in the middle of a global pandemic where budgets are cut or frozen, and you're kind of a new product coming into a space. So in one respects, it was very validating, but also nerve-wracking. So, I mean, I think having a solid investment partner is important if you're looking to go the investment route, right? And I think every company is going to be different in what decisions they make there. We knew that FlexTrack was going to need investment in order to scale and grow quickly. So that was always kind of part of the plan. So finding that right investment partner has been vital. And it helps open up the network to their investment network, and other contacts and things like that in the industry. So that was one thing that I think was kind of, definitely, a turning point in our story. And then just continuing to be able to recognize, like, how do we continue to think big, right, and to dream big, and not get wound up in the day-to-day too much, and think, but think in terms of, like, where do we want to see ourselves in 3 to 5 years from now, and how do we get there? So being able to work our way backwards from, hey, these are some targets that we want to hit. Where does the product have to look like, and can the product sustain that, right? So I think those were some good learning points that helps, that helped with having investment to be able to do that, right? So.
I love that. That partnership you've had with Stage.0 has been fantastic, hasn't it? So
yeah, no doubt.
And then this idea of beginning with the end in mind, or looking long term, which sometimes you get so myopic if you just look very short term, you don't make solid decisions for really where you're going to build and take the FlexTrack. So that's great advice. If you looked at this whole thing now, and you look back, you would definitely keep doing what you're doing. I know that this is a silly question, but you would do what you're doing. But what would you mind done differently if you look back at the first couple of years, that now that you've really been in existence for a couple of years, right? What would you do different?
I mean, like you said, there's no regrets with the path that we've taken. I think probably the only thing is, in some respects, I would say maybe I could have started sooner, right? I'm a risk management guy by trade, so want to take as calculated a risks as possible. But on the flip side, I think we've hit the market at a good time with our product and our offering and the maturity of it. So if anything, it's like maybe have started a little sooner. But beyond. I don't have any insight on like what I could have done differently. I think we can always, one thing we're always continuing to learn is like, how can we hire more aggressively? That's always going to, I think, like that's kind of the pain points we're experiencing right now is like, we're trying to hire as quickly as we can and finding good people and those kinds of things. But, other than that, I mean, yeah, we're blessed. I can't say it. And we have established a great team. And I think that's one huge testament to our success is just the quality of people we've been able to attract at FlexTrack and continue and help us grow the company.
No, I think that's great, Dan. One of the other points that's kind of that you brought out earlier is it's so important for a community like the community that we live in, the Treasure Valley and in Boise area, to have entrepreneurs come into it. People that are willing to take risks to be able to grow companies and to be able to, because those risks that you're taking, it's easy to hang on to, you had a great job, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
and you had a great career path, and then you sit there and you walk on this plank, and it is like, now I am walking out. I mean, there's a lot of risk that you are now managing. That's a lot different. So, so that's and that's the mindset. That's not for everybody, but it's something that you have that mindset. As you look at this, how important is it to have it for our local ecosystem to have entrepreneurs and innovators like you?
I think it's crucial, right? I mean, I think that Boise is in a fun stage where there's more and more tech and more startups in general coming to fruition, having good exits and growth to not only just help the economy, but just be able to spark that innovation and become a place that's attractive not just for the beautiful state of Idaho, but also just the innovation that's starting to come out of the Treasure Valley. So I think it's important, and I think it's important to have some of those examples. I mean, I hope that we can continue to set that example for the future. Just to know that, like, hey, anytime someone's going to make a decision like this, you really kind of like have to do your own risk analysis, right? And so just knowing like what's the worst possible thing that could ever happen, and then see how bad is that really, right? And I think when I did that analysis, and anything that's the worst possible thing that could happen really didn't have anything to do with the business, right? It's, what if our kids get sick or my wife dies or I die? Those are the things that are the worst that could happen. And so then you start to realize, well, you work your way back from that, and moving away from a great job is not necessarily as big a risk as it might feel, right? So those were all just things that I think everybody's going to walk through. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's great points. Last question: what have you had some advice from mentors or anybody else that's out in the business field and how did that play a role in what you've done?
Yeah, no doubt. I'll never say that I got here all by myself at all. So had some great mentors and just some great advisors along the way. And what's been great is that you meet different people at the different stages of the company, right? And so like early on, the folks at Trailhead, Jeff Reynolds and Rhino Zoller were huge mentors to me, very early in that kind of ideation stage, right? And the programs that they were putting on at the time, really were helpful. And then as I got, past, and even at Sensi, Sensi is a very entrepreneurial company. So there was just that spirit, that helps, kind of give advice and things like that. And then, diving in full time, having mentors like Mike and Matt and the whole Stage.0 team. It's impressive. And even outside of my network from investors or work, but, people that are business owners in the Valley and have helped grow companies, being willing to just give of their time to just sit and have coffee or go to lunch and just chat through things, even if they've not experienced those before, there's still good insights. And that's one thing I think I would presume is unique to the Treasure Valley, is that everybody seems willing to help out. And we obviously hope to be able to do that for those that are coming along behind us as well.
I love that. And it allows you to build as you talk to people and the way that how open the community is, it allows you to confirm some of the ideas you're doing, or else gives you new ideas that you can probably take. And yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, so as we end this, we're going to invite you on to talk a little bit more about the capital side of that, to our Capital Connect series later in the fall. So we'll put a bookmark on that, a little bit more discussion. But as we exit this, Dan, we have a new question that we're asking just for fun, to be able to see a little bit more into the into the karma of Dan DeCloss. Okay. So if you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be and why?
Oh, wow. Interesting. My immediate reaction is like a cheetah, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
I would say, you can be nimble, you can be quick, and and still be a predator.
I know, I love that, because that's exactly what a lot of people have compared the Idaho marketplace, because we're a smaller state, right? But we can move kind of gazelle-like or cheetah, you can do because they can go up to like 45 miles an hour or something like that, right? I love that. And I like the idea of the predator. You're going out and you're taking markets, right? You have to build it, and that's what you need to do. So we'll put that down. Dan DeCloss is a cheetah. I love it.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, Dan, thanks so much for being part of Innovation Matters today. We really appreciate you making time, and congratulations to the success of FlexTrack and your team you're building and all the things you're doing. It's just absolutely fantastic.
Well, thanks, Jay. And thanks for all that you guys do as well. We're excited to be involved with the Idaho Technology Council and happy to help wherever we can. So, all
right. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it so much. And the quote I was going to give today is one we've given before, is creativity is thinking of new things. Innovation is doing new things. So there's the thought of the day. And again, it's May 20th. Thanks, Dan, for being part of us. Thanks for joining Innovation Matters, because again, in Idaho, innovation does matter. Thanks and have a great day.